Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you for giving me the floor. I try to make sure that I speak a bit more slowly so people can understand what I'm trying to say. Energy Fiji Limited was formerly known as the Fiji Electricity Authority. It was established back in the 60s, and under the Electricity Act has the function to provide and maintain a power supply that is viable financially, viable economically, and economically sound and consistent with the required standards of safety, security, and quality of power supply. EFL is responsible for generation, transmission, and the retail of electricity on the four main islands of Vitilevu, Vanuatu, Ovalau, and Taveuni, and this accounts for more than 90% of our population here in Fiji. Our electricity demand has increased by 18%, from 794 million units at the end of December 2014 to 937 million units at the end of December 2018. So that in a four-year time period, electricity demand has increased by 18%. And currently the total number of customer accounts has increased quite significantly by 14% from 2015 to 2019. So there has been an annual average growth rate of around 3.21% over this period. And as of January 2019, there are more than 171,000 domestic accounts and almost 19,000 commercial and industrial accounts. So I think one of the things that we see, the demand for power is increasing in Fiji. And this is not something that you only see in Fiji, it's something that's happening all around the world. It's a global trend. Globally also now, there is a realization that there is a huge need to address greenhouse gas emission reduction by doing a number of things. First of all, by increasing energy efficiency, changing light bulbs, for instance, putting in the LED light so that we can get the same amount of light but use less electricity. And also by enhancing electrification, seeing how we can put electrification into various sectors where we did not have much electricity before, but making sure that that electricity is renewable electricity. So we want to increase electrification by make sure that it is renewable electricity. This is the way forward. I think I read a report recently that was released in last year, around October, that pointed out that in the world we have around a 12-year window in which to change the kinds of things that we are doing in this world, or in terms of our temperature growth will exceed the limit at which it is too late to turn back. So we have 12 years. Only 12 years to make some fundamental changes to the way we do things in the world. That's why the work that was undertaken by the Prime Minister in COP23 is very important. The work undertaken by the 4 million trees, all of these things are very important because we have this short 12-year window in which to make fundamental changes. That includes how we go about addressing power. To ensure that we do not go over the temperature increase threshold beyond which that it will not be possible for us to hand over a healthy world to the generations that follow us. There is now a trend towards pushing electricity into areas such as transport with electrical vehicles as a major way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and this will be something that we will look to in the future. But that electricity must be renewable energy. Our focus, therefore, will be to ensure that our renewable energy sources are maintained, not only maintained, but they are improved, and that new renewable energy sources come online. Yesterday, I talked briefly about the new 5-megawatt Ngelaloa solar farm, and that is an example of some of the programs that EFL is putting into place to try to enhance our renewable energy portion that we have out of our energy. So Monosavu is very critical for Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Monosavu hydroelectric scheme was established in 1983 with a total electricity installed capacity of 18 megawatts. The Monosavu hydroelectric scheme with the Wainikasoa power station and other renewable power energy projects such as Nandarivatu hydroelectric scheme, the Butoni wind farm, and the independent power producers contributed to around 59 to 60% of our electricity demand in the year 2018. Mr. Speaker, sir, the development of these new renewable energy sources has also contributed to Fiji having the lowest electricity tariff rate compared to any other Pacific Island country, including parts of Australia and New Zealand. Currently, our electricity tariff stands at 37.4 Fiji cents per unit compared to parts of New Zealand where they have 47.5 cents, parts of Australia where they have 47.2 cents, Tonga where they have 89.4 cents per unit, PNG at 61 cents per unit, and Solomon Islands $1.47 per unit. So we're very thankful for our predecessors, those that had the vision to set up facilities like Monasabu, and also the support of the land-owning units that participated in this great development for the establishment of the Monasabu hydroelectric scheme. Without this project, Fiji would have had to rely heavily on importing great amounts of expensive fossil fuel, which would have had an adverse impact on our economy. Our electricity tariff rates would have been too high, and we would not have been competitive in the international arena as we have been so far. Honourable Speaker, the Monasabu hydroelectric scheme has been in operation for more than 35 years. We know that it is critical that major half-life refurbishment works be carried out to ensure that the Monasabu hydro scheme continues to perform to its optimal level for the next 25 to 30 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Bainimarama and Fiji First governments have been proactive about this. We commenced the Monasabu half-life refurbishment in the year 2013. By 31st December 2018, EFL has invested more than $58 million on these refurbishment works. What has this work consisted of? The main components of the work that were carried out were the replacement of the 4 main inlet valves for the turbines and the replacement of 4 power transformers at the Wailoa power station. Most of these works have been carried out during the Easter weekends and also during the Prophet Muhammad's birthday long weekend from the years 2016 to 2018. These works need to be carried out over the long weekend as this exercise is time-consuming, with teams working around the clock in shifts and the electricity demand being lower than a normal working day. In order to carry out the replacement of these main inlet valves, EFL engineers have had to shut down Wailoa power station and rely on the diesel power stations around Vitilevu to meet the demand for electricity. Other works carried out included the replacement of electrical equipment and hardware at the 3 main substations at Wailoa, Vunda and Cunningham Road, and on the 132,000 volt transmission lines, and the maintenance of steel lattice towers, including the removal of rust and painting, to name a few. EFL will invest an additional $14 million to complete the remaining works in the next 3 to 4 years. These include the replacement of the turbine components, nozzles, switch gears, runners, and so forth. Repair and maintenance of the transmission lines from Wailoa to Cunningham Road substation and Wailoa to the Vunda substation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the EFL engineers have been engaged on the refurbishment works. However, in areas where higher levels of specialized expertise is required, and if this is not available locally, EFL will engage overseas experts through a competitive tender process. Mr. Speaker, sir, providing reliable and affordable electricity supply from renewable energy sources is necessary to continue to modernize our economy, create increased economic opportunity, and make sure that we have sustainable development of our country. Through its 10-year power development plan, EFL has put in place strategies and plans to meet our increased electricity demand through the available resources. The power development plan also highlights the associated electricity networks to be developed or upgraded, and it is estimated that the total funding of around $2.4 billion will be required to do this, to implement this PDP. Mr. Speaker, sir, to conclude, it's in our best interest of the government and EFL to carry out the half-life refurbishment of the Monasabu hydroelectric scheme. This will enhance and complement the implementation of our PDP and to achieve the target of supplying 90% of our electricity supply from renewable sources by the year 2026. And this is consistent and in line with the targets set out in our National Development Plan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.